3D wood signs just like this are very popular right now. But when you make them your own or buy them online, you typically have to hand paint everything, and most likely they're always in solid colors. But did you know that you could create something just like this with patterns on the back, patterns on the letters, and you don't have to hand paint anything, you don't have to decoupage, and you don't have to use rub-on transfers. And I'm going to show you today how to do that using the xTool M2 Colorcraft laser. First, we need to create our design. I will be using Canva. I created a background that resembled whitewashed weathered wood. I always like to make sure that I hit the background remover so that the only thing that is left is my image. Then I can add another page. And for my second page, I did create this adorable scarecrow face. Now, if you don't know how to create any kind of graphic designs, Canva has a ton of designs. You can just type in scarecrow face and go to graphics and scroll down until you find a design that you like. Now, the ones that have little crowns beside it, those are for Canva Pro, which I do have, but if you do not have a Canva subscription, you could always find one that's free. Once you have one selected, make sure that you remove the background so everything will be nice and clean when we take this over to xTool Studio. I also wanted some fall patterns, so I typed that in and I added additional pages. You can scroll down and find all of the fall patterns that you think would coordinate and look well together. I chose 9 different patterns for the letters of Hello Fall and added each one to a new page. I did not remove the background on these. When you get ready to download these to your computer to take them over to xTool, make sure that your background as well as your scarecrow face has been downloaded with a transparent background. I'll be using 3mm basswood plywood that measures about 11 3/4 of an inch square. I wanted to try something different, so I painted the top of this with one coat of white acrylic paint and allowed that to completely dry before placing on my magnetic clamps and placing this into the xTool M2. I wanted to see if the colors would come out more vibrant. They do not, and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about a little later on. I've already installed my inkjet module, and I am now going to import my first image. I like to crop mine to remove any of the dead space so that I can get a proper measurement. Once I have that completed, I will click Save, and then I can adjust the size of this to make sure that it will fit within that 11 3/4 of an inch piece of wood. Once I have that size, I'm going to come over to the right-hand side of the screen and you will select your mode. I'm going to do print, then cut. I will also make sure to select my material type. In this case, I'm using the 3mm basswood plywood. And once you have that highlighted on the right-hand side, you can click Apply, and it will automatically give you the settings for this particular piece of wood. While you still have your image highlighted, go to the right-hand side and select Printer. Now you'll notice at the top left of your screen there, that space will not print. So you're going to want to make sure you place your pattern or your image where it will be printed. Then we're going to go to Offset, click External with a 0 distance and click Confirm. This will be our cut layer. So go to the right-hand side of the screen and make sure you select Cut. This is where those pre-settings come in for the basswood. I am going to add another canvas for a little later on, but first we're going to work on the first canvas and I'm going to import my scarecrow image. I am going to crop it just like I did the first one to make sure that I can get a more accurate measurement. Once I have that done and I click Save, I can then adjust the size of this. I'm doing this all on the first canvas to start off with to make sure that I can have my sign laid out exactly the way I want it and that all the pieces will fit on there. Then I can select text on the left-hand side, and I am going to type out the word hello. And then you can select whatever font you want to use. I want to make sure that this is a cut file. So on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll make sure you select cut. Then I can adjust the size of this by dragging the corners in to make sure that everything is going to fit on the sign. Because I want to make sure that all of my letters are the same size, I can right-click on this, select copy and paste, and then I can remove the hello and type in fall. That way everything will be the exact same size. And then again, I can make sure everything is going to fit on here. Once I know that, I can then highlight my scarecrow. I am going to cut that, and I am going to go to my second canvas, and I am going to paste that, leaving it the exact same size from where I adjusted it previously. Again, on the right-hand side of the screen, I am going to make sure that I select the printer so that this will be printed. And then I can move this around if I need to. I can go up to the top and click Offset, External with a 0 distance, click Confirm, and this will be our cut layer. Make sure you go to the right-hand side and select Cut. Then I'm going to add a third canvas so that I can bring in all of those patterns that I downloaded. So I'm going to bring in each individual pattern and size it to be much smaller. I had 9 patterns, a different pattern for each of the letters. And once I have those a little bit sized down, I can go back to my first canvas. I can right click on hello and cut this, click on my third canvas, right click and paste it. I'll go back and pick up the word fall, doing the exact same thing. Right click, cut, go to your third canvas, right click, paste. Now I need to be able to size the words. I want to keep them the same size, but I need to space them out so they will fit on these patterns. So you can click more, and that bottom layer there, you can do some letter spacing. So just space that out to the size that you will need, and then you can go back and make all of your patterns smaller to make sure that they will all fit. Now for each pattern, you want to make sure you select printer. So I'm going to do that for each individual one. I will just highlight that pattern, go to the right-hand side and select printer. Once I have that done, I can adjust the size of each of the patterns and then move the word hello over so that I can line each of the letters up on a different pattern. And then I can just keep adjusting the size of those patterns until I get them to look the way I want them to. Also keeping in mind that I'm moving everything to the right-hand side, since when we print those, it will not print in that gray space at the top left. Once I have them all sized exactly the way I want them and all of those are laid out, I will go back and make sure that my cut file layer is for the words, and then my images are for print. We can go back to our first canvas and start our first print. So once you close the lid, it's going to automatically measure and take a photo for you. And if you need to move this to fit on your board, highlight both the cut and the print file. So just hold your mouse, slide it over, and select both of those. You want to make sure that they stay in the exact same spot together. Once that is ready and you have all of your settings ready, you can process it. At this point, it is going to go ahead and let you know that you need your inkjet module in first so that you can start task 1 of 2, which is the printing. Once you click that, it is then going to generate a file, send that file over to the xTool M2, you press the start button, and it is going to start printing for you. Once your printing is complete, you can click the next button and it is going to tell you that you need to install your laser head module. Make sure that you do not move or shift your piece of wood. Just simply unplug the inkjet module. It is magnetic. You can just pull it straight off and insert your laser module and then plug the cable back in. Once you close the lid, it is automatically going to measure it for you and you could start task 2 of 2, which is the cut file. Once your computer sends the file over to the machine, all you have to do is press the button on the front of your machine and it will go ahead and cut your piece for you. Make sure that it has returned to its proper spot before you open the lid and take out your piece. Now we're going to add in our second piece of basswood plywood. Now this is the natural color. This is not painted. I'm going to make sure I have my inkjet module installed so that we can now go to our second canvas, which is going to be that scarecrow. It's going to automatically measure for you. Then you go back over to xTool Studio. We're on the second canvas now. Again, if you're going to have to move your piece, make sure you highlight everything. So I decided I could go ahead and move all of these pieces to the second canvas because they will all fit on this one board. So I just cut and paste that and I can reposition this with the scarecrow. That way I'm not having to use extra pieces of wood. Once you have everything lined up, you can go ahead, process it. It is going to go ahead and print that for you. One of the features that I really love about this machine is in xTool Studio, you can enable monitoring and you can watch this print straight from your computer. Once that task is done, you simply unplug the cable, remove the inkjet module, reinstall the laser module, close the lid, and then it will auto measure, it will generate the file, and you can click task 2 of 2, press the button on the front, and it is going to cut everything out for you perfectly. Remember, I painted my wood white? Well, I printed this one out first, thinking that the colors would really pop. They do not. On the left-hand side, this is the one that was painted white first before printing. The one on the right-hand side, I printed on natural wood, and these colors are super vibrant. So keep that in mind when you are using the M2. It definitely prints brighter colors on natural wood. Now I'm going to put all of my pieces together using some super glue to make sure everything adheres well. And then I also added a rope hanger to the top. So this is how it turned out. I think it's absolutely adorable. I love all these vibrant colors. Now make sure you stay tuned because we're going to do another project. Using another piece of 3mm basswood plywood, I'm going to print, then cut 2 leaves. I want to show you just how much detail that this will print and cut no matter how small it is. These are stunning. Now to go with this piece, I'm going to be using a decorative cutting board from Walmart. And the clamps that come with it, they are magnetic. So if your piece is too thick for the clamp to go over, you can just place those magnets on each side to make sure that it does not shift or move when printing. I printed another image that I created. And now we're going to take this out and head over to my craft table to put everything together. But first, I do want to advise that you will definitely want to put some sort of clear glaze over these pieces, just like I did this one, as well as the sign, just to protect your images. I've already added a bow to the top, and now I am going to super glue my leaves to the top handle. This piece turned out stunning, and I would love to know what you guys think. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you are interested in the xTool M2 Colorcraft laser, make sure to check out the link in my description box below. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please take care, and I'll see you guys next time.